Welcome to Managing Asia. I'm Christine Tan. With more Asians hitting the super rich list, luxury car sales are hitting full throttle. One sports car maker enjoying much of this growth is Porsche. Today we're here to meet the man in the driver's seat in Asia Pacific. After spending 30 years in the automotive industry, Mr. Egberg still feels the need for speed.
Well, first of all, I love driving. I had many dream cars, but I think the dream car that I've had since the very beginning was the 911, definitely, which is also the icon in the Porsche family.
Egberg, who hails from Sweden, is a seasoned driver on the business tracks. He kick-started his career with Saab in 1975 before joining General Motors 20 years later. In 1996, Egberg was headhunted to boost Porsche sales in his home country.
It was my dream job. From a timing point of view, I was very lucky at that time because this was exactly when the Porsche Boxster was introduced. So that gave me a lot of wind in my sails, and we managed to develop the business up to close to 300 cars, I think, from nothing.
Riding on his success, Egberg came to Singapore in 2001 to set up Porsche's first Asia-Pacific office. It was all part of the German carmaker's efforts to decentralize operations.
Porsche, as many other companies, have realized, of course, that the potential growth in the world will come from certain areas, and one of these areas is, of course, Asia.
I understand at that time. Yeah. You had never been to Asia before. How did you get your head around the diverse markets here in the region?
A big challenge, but I think it helps if you are open-minded and you listen to your people and you listen to your importers and take on a challenge like this with an open mind. And definitely also take full advantage of your local employees here. Find out what is different, what is important to think about when you enter different markets in Asia. From a cultural point of view, you have different customer preferences when it comes to different models. We don't sell exactly the same model mix here like we sell in other countries. So in many different ways, it's you have to adapt.
Today, Porsche is racing at top speed in Asia. Whether it's the iconic 911 or the Cayenne sport utility vehicle, sales of the German marque are surging at record levels of 5,000 vehicles a year in the region. Porsche is a well-known brand with a rich history, but growing its name in Asia hasn't been all smooth sailing. You say the biggest challenge growing in Asia was to change the positioning of the Porsche brand. What was wrong with the way Porsche was perceived here in the region?
I wouldn't say it was wrong, but the brand was positioned as a luxury brand, and we wanted to give people more reasons to buy than just because it's a luxury brand. We wanted to give our customers more knowledge about what is Porsche really all about.
And what is Porsche really all about? How did you try to change that perception?
Porsche is a motorsport and racing brand, and this is something which is very clear in the Western world. For obvious reasons in Asia, this association to motorsport did not really exist because we were simply not racing here. So what we decided to do to change this was to bring Carrera Cup series, a racing series from Europe over to Asia. Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Korea, and in 5 different locations in China.
Over the years, you've also worked hard to build up your dealer network. I understand there are many interested parties, but you say it's always difficult to find the right partners to represent you. Why is that?
To find suitable partners from a financial point of view is not difficult. There are lots of people around, potential partners who have necessary financial funds to be our partners. But that's not enough. We need to have a partner who is passionate about the business, who knows the business, understands what Porsche is all about, and is capable of turning dreams into reality. This is really the whole thing. It's very, very emotional.
So when it comes to selecting your dealers, what sort of tests do you put them through?
It's a lot of strictly formalities, I mean normal applications. And then normally what we do is we don't sign a contract immediately with a new partner. We sign a letter of intent for a period of time. And during that time we evaluate the relationship and we evaluate the investments done by this partner. Until we may, so to say, finally sign a contract with this partner.
You were part of the original team which brought Porsche to China in 2001. It's such a big market. What was the biggest challenge you faced getting Porsche established in the mainland?
First of all, the size of the country. We shouldn't talk about China as a country. It's a continent. It's a huge, massive place with a lot of diversity. Different provinces, different cultures, even different languages. So the sheer size of China is I would say, one thing that makes it complicated when you start off from nothing. Another thing which is really difficult is also to find people, to find the local people, not only investors. Money is not the problem most of the times. The problem is to find the right people. And people that we can communicate with. So it's English knowledge level and also Chinese knowledge level among ourselves in our own organization. I would say people are the key in every development of any market. China as well as in Vietnam and other countries that we will talk about later. This has been, I would say, the major challenge.
You use the sport utility vehicle, the Cayenne, to open the doors for you in China. Today, the Cayenne makes up something like 75% of total sales in the mainland. Why take the risk of getting consumers in China to associate the Porsche brand with an SUV?
Well, we don't really see it as a risk. Our SUV is not a normal SUV. It's a very sporty, it's the sport car of the SUV market. And in parallel with launching and selling the Cayenne, we are also selling sport cars in China, and sport car sales are increasing every month. But in parallel with starting up sales in China, we also started racing in China. And racing is now taking place in China in totally 5 locations: in Beijing, in Shanghai, in Chengdu, in Zhuhai, and in Macau. So this, together with our dealer network and sales activities and Porsche World Road shows, where we bring the complete model range up close to our customers and offer our customers a chance to really get close to and test drive our cars, has made it possible to position our brand.
Do you think you fully managed to establish Porsche as a sports car brand in China?
Definitely.
Do consumers in China understand what the brand is all about now?
Absolutely, absolutely. This, of course, is a continuous development, and then you have to keep on working with it, like you do in every other country.
Don't go away after the break. Find out how Krista Ekberg of Porsche Asia Pacific is revving up growth in other parts of the region. Managing Asia, we'll be right back. CNBC, in partnership with Digital Chosun, is proud to bring the 6th Annual Asia Business Leaders Awards to the dynamic city of Seoul, Korea. Since 2001, the CNBC Asia Business Leaders Awards have distinguished and honored Asian leaders who have contributed and shaped this strong and successful economy. Winning an award is truly a defining moment of corporate excellence and an indication of greater achievements to come. Join us in celebrating Asia's visionaries at the CNBC Asia Business Leaders Awards 2008. For more information, visit abla.cnbc.com now.
The Asia Business Leaders Awards 2008 is presented by CNBC and Digital Chosun in association with BT and the following partners.
CNBC's Cash Flow, where we help you cut through the noise and get to the bottom line.
So what should investors do right now?
Looking for opportunities across the markets, giving you the edge to stay ahead. CNBC's Cash Flow, weekdays at 10 a.m, only on CNBC.
Welcome back to Managing Asia. My guest today is Krista Ekberg, Managing Director of Porsche Asia Pacific. The Stuttgart-based company is one of the world's most profitable car makers, riding on surging sales in developing countries. Porsche is no newcomer to the region, having built up a presence since the 1950s. You know, a lot of people I know grow up wanting to own the Porsche. Why this love affair with the Porsche?
Well, this love affair very often starts at very young age. Already at the age of 5-6 years old, a lot of boys worldwide are dreaming about owning a Porsche sometime in their life and driving a Porsche. It's a unique car, unique design, unique performance. It's different.
Who buys your cars here in Asia? What's your customer profile like?
Well, most of the time the customer profile in Asia is very similar to the customer profile in the rest of the world. It's mainly a lot of entrepreneurs, successful business people, successful professionals who have been nurturing this dream of owning a Porsche for many, many years.
You're going to launch the four-door Panamera next year. What exactly will it look like?
Well, we call it the four-door Gran Turismo. The Porsche Panamera definitely will be much lower than the Cayenne, so it's not going to look like an SUV. It's going to be quite a big car, so it's not going to be smaller and as compact as a sport car. I would say you wait and see. I can assure you that it will be a mind-blowing car that will fascinate the world.
With a souped-up product line and an expanded sales network, Porsche is racing to appeal to Asia's newly rich. Depending on which model it is, whether it's the 911, the Boxster, the Cayenne, you have a wide range of competitors from the Ferrari to BMW to Volkswagen. How do you compete?
Well, first of all, we compete with our brand. And everything that goes into our brand when it comes to history and tradition, this is like an umbrella covering all our models and all our different car models. When you look at competitors on a model by model level, it's of course very different because most of our competitors do not have a range of products that we have. It's a wide spectrum of competition. But I think for us the most important thing is to keep in mind our brand. This is our strength.
How important is pricing? Do you constantly watch what your competitors are doing?
Definitely, we do. Pricing is important. We make sure that we are positioned correctly in relation to our competitors worldwide, in every single country. So this is something that we work on a continuous basis with, not only the price of the car, but also the cost of owning the car. So this is something that we are constantly monitoring in every single country.
Most of your cars are manufactured in Germany. Has the strong euro impacted your sales margins here in Asia?
Well, first of all, as I said, we monitor our pricing and our competitiveness in relation to our competitors in every single country, and we don't allow exchange rate fluctuations to have an impact on retail prices. So the price positioning versus competitors should be constant.
What about your sales margins? Are they impacted in any way?
Of course, they can be from time to time impacted, but you know, as exchange rates goes up and down and constantly fluctuates, it's something that from a head office point of view is taken care of by hedging instruments. So far so good.
You rely more on below-the-line advertising, which means, you know, using your racing events to generate publicity. Doesn't this somehow narrow or limit the ways you reach customers? How do you know this is more effective?
Well, we do not only use racing events, we also organize a lot of other events. Everything from social events and gatherings to Porsche World Road shows, where we invite potential customers to come and really get up and close to our cars. we believe that this kind of activities are much more efficient for us.
It's interesting because Porsche has stayed out of participating in the high-profile Formula One races. Why is that?
Well, it's a decision made by the company that we are focusing on what we call customer racing, which means that we are creating opportunities for our customers to actually take part in professional racing with cars that are very close to standard cars. It's a way that we have found works for us.
With record high oil prices, how close is Porsche to developing a new product line of hybrid sports cars?
Well, very close. Actually, we already have communicated that before the end of this decade, we will have a Cayenne with hybrid engine. And actually, very recently, today, a press information is being distributed that also our new model line, the Porsche Panamera, will also be offered with a hybrid alternative.
Do you think your hybrid cars will take off in Asia?
Definitely. I think they will take off in Asia as well as in the rest of the world. I don't think that maybe the awareness, the environmental awareness level that you have in Europe and the Western world might yet have reached the same level here in Asia, but this is only a question of time.
In terms of cities, you say Hong Kong is your biggest market, where you sold 600 cars last year, followed by Singapore, where you sold 300 cars. How will your strategy change when these two cities reach saturation?
I don't think that we've seen the end of the story yet. Also then keeping in mind that we are adding a new model line with the Porsche Panamera around the corner. This car will act in a segment of the market which is bigger than both the sport car segment and the SUV segment put together. So I don't really see these markets as saturated.
Vietnam is your newest market for you. You say Porsche is the first fully imported car to enter the country. What took you so long to enter the Vietnam market?
A lot of consideration, of course. We have to wait until we know that we can find also a partner who is willing to invest, who believes in the future of the country. And this happened actually 1.5 years ago, in parallel with the fact that Vietnam signed the WTO agreement. And this was, for us, the final go-ahead. First of all, a member of WTO. Secondly, we have identified a partner who is willing to go into Vietnam long term.
Like China, are you using the Cayenne, the SUV, to penetrate the Vietnam market?
Yes, of course. I mean, the Cayenne is the car that will dominate sales, for sure, for obvious reasons. The car can be driven on-road as well as off-road. So the road conditions and infrastructure are not that important. But meanwhile, while selling Cayennes, we will also sell sport cars, and our importer in Vietnam has already actually signed orders on sport cars already now. So this will take place in parallel.
How long will the transition take, you think?
I would say 3 to 5 years, something like this, and until we have reached a level where we are selling maybe 60-40, 60% SUVs, 40% sport cars.
How big is the Vietnam market for you potentially?
Hard to say. It's still too early. If we can sell 30 to 40 cars the first year, now 2008, I'll be very happy. Well, I would not be surprised if we would sell 400 to 500 cars within 3 to 5 years.
You say Taiwan and South Korea are opening up for you. Last year, you tell me sales here in Asia grew about 50%. How fast do you see the region growing for Porsche?
Well, I don't see any reason why we cannot continue growing at this rate, at least for the next 3 to 5 years.
How many cars are you targeting to sell in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, if we look a little bit in the rear view mirror, if we look at Porsche Asia Pacific now, the region, and we exclude China for the moment being, and we look at the year 2000, excluding China, 148 Porsches were sold in the whole region that year. In the same countries, last year in 2007, we sold 1,200 cars. This year we are shooting for more than 1,500 cars. And with a 50% increase year on year, it's easy to calculate what we're looking at.
Don't go away. After the break, find out how Krista Egberg of Porsche Asia Pacific maintains his relationship with his dealers. Managing Asia, we'll be right back.
When you have the supply to meet any demand, you have agility. When you have the power to source from emerging markets, you have agility. When you have customized products for local markets, you have agility. Your logistics partner should share your definition of success. When they do, you have agility.
Can we build a portfolio, equities versus cash versus fixed income or other asset classes?
15% cash,
10 or 15%,
30%,
20% cash or something is always good for a rainy day.
10% fixed interest.
I would buy other assets.
The remainder in equities.
An investment in Ausenco should comfortably beat the market over the next 12 months.
Probably around here, Alco looks quite good value.
Bullish on Australia, bearish really on the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, Kumar, thank you.
Trading Matters, your essential guide to the Australian equity market. Monday to Thursday on CNBC. After the opening bell frenzy, it's time to make the call on the markets. What to play.
1 billion shares changing hands already.
Where are the biggest sales?
How to play.
There was a huge short bias.
The smartest people on Wall Street will help you make the call on your investments. The Call, weeknights at 12 a.m. on CNBC.
Welcome back to Managing Asia. My guest today is no stranger to sports cars and premium brands. He's Porsche's Krista Egberg. With more than 30 years of experience, he has been heading the Asia-Pacific region for the German marque since 2001. You spent your entire career working in the automotive industry. What's kept you in this line for so long?
The excitement of cars and the excitement of working in the biggest industry in the world. The automotive industry is extremely exciting. Cars are important to people for different reasons, for purely rational reasons of being of transportation from A to B, to very emotional reasons. So there are a lot of reasons why once you are in the automotive industry, it's kind of difficult to get out.
You're 54 years old, born and grew up in Sweden, studied international marketing there. Describe the management style you've had to take while heading Porsche here in Asia.
Well, Porsche is about passion. The Porsche culture is very specific, and you might call it sporty casual, which is a dress code normally. But it's a sport car manufacturer, a sporty brand, an exciting company to work for. A lot of new exciting products coming like a string of pearls, which makes it ultimately an incredibly fascinating company.
How do you motivate and retain talent within the company? How do you attract good people?
Well, continuous opportunity to develop, opportunities to develop within the business, try new challenges. I have a number of my team members who came with me from Germany to Singapore in 2001 are now working for our importers in Asia. So they have continued in the distribution chain and are now working closer to our customers. So I think continuous opportunities to develop and with the brand.
You're in charge of a large network of dealers here in Asia. What's the best way to manage these importers?
Listening to them, active listening, and make sure that you take them serious when it comes to the business conditions that they are facing in their local markets. Make sure that you accumulate knowledge over time and gain respect, mutual respect. It's a give and take all the time between people working in a distribution chain. And make sure that the Porsche culture, in our case, that the brand and the brand culture works as a bridge between cultures.
You say when it comes to managing your dealers, disagreements do crop up. What does it usually involve?
Oh, this can be this can be anything, you know, between heaven and earth. This is of course not smooth sailing all the while.
What do you argue about?
Can be everything from of course, pricing or different marketing activities or a marketing approach. But I would say in most cases we end up with a common understanding. And as I referred to before, the passion for Porsche helps.
In your 30-odd years in the automotive industry, share with us some of the management mistakes you've made, some of the hard lessons you've learned along the way.
Many mistakes. One that comes to my mind goes way back, many years, to end of the 80s. End of the 80s, and this was with General Motors, North American cars, North American brands. I introduced light commercial vehicles under the Chevrolet brand in Sweden. And I believed that Swedish customers wanted brochures translated to Swedish. What I didn't really understand was the brand and the brand history of Chevrolet in Sweden. I had not done enough research. I did not know that Chevrolet had a much longer history in Sweden than what I was aware of. And the buyers were attracted to this brand. They wanted the real thing. So we had to order a separate quantity of US brochures from the United States over to Sweden. And we had to scrap all these Swedish brochures.
How much did it cost you?
I don't remember now. I don't want to think about it. But that was a big mistake, and really I can relate it to not doing enough research of the history of a brand.
And finally, your line of work allows you to enjoy motor racing. How fast do you actually drive on the road?
I believe I have been up to 280, 290 kilometers per hour, but that's it. Under very strict safety conditions on racetrack.
What do you like about driving fast cars?
I love the sound from the Porsche engines. It's fantastic, and it's actually different sound from different Porsche engines, which is extremely exciting. The Boxster sounds totally different than a 911, and the 911 Turbo is different from a 911 GT3. So engine sound is one really important ingredient when describing why I like driving fast Porsches, fast cars. Other than that, speed in itself is exciting.
And that was Christa Egberg, Managing Director of Porsche Asia Pacific. Hope you've enjoyed the program. Join us again next week for more on the challenges of managing Asia. I'm Christine Tan. Thanks for watching.